The luck cloud, hiking and barney. You make it your own with your luck and timing on the luck cloud.
We didn't talk about it yet, but I'm done with my dissertation.
Mark?
Barney!
Come on, bud.
Barney! Look how happy he looks.
He is. He's so happy. He loves being on new hikes.
He's gonna like this trail.
So I've done this one, that side, a lot.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This
I've
one's
never
pretty.
done this side.
It's like much more low impact and prettier. Barney! When you went down that way, did you ever go down the hill and like look at all the shit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Isn't the climb back up so difficult?
Oh, very difficult.
This is cool, but like, oh my God, it's gonna kick my ass going back up.
Well, there's a lot. One of the things I like to do, which is kind of, part of my overall nature, is I like to get myself into a tight situation so that then I have to get out of it.
The pressure.
Yes, my back against the wall.
Yeah. And in those moments, like, especially in comedy, that's when some good shit comes out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When there's dead silence and you got to figure it out, you figure out a tag in that moment, it works.
Yeah, I feel like I will write down, let's say, a 5-minute set on my hand, right?
Yeah.
And I'll know the kind of the shape of all the jokes. And I'll try to theme them, maybe rearrange them in my head as I'm going along.
Yeah.
But yeah, the best part is like when I've got to the end of something and I'm just like, I don't know where I want to go next. Mm-hmm. Can I just keep digging into the same hole that I've been in?
Yeah.
Or do I jump to the next joke?
Right.
Yeah.
I love that.
But also I think, as much as I like jokey jokes, just jokes, I think that the best comedy is or comedy or whatever performance is just if you're a good hang. If people want to just be there with you,
yes,
regardless of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can make them laugh, great. But,
That's the thing. They're being supportive listeners.
Oh, yeah.
And in that sense, it's generosity. They don't realize that because they're there thinking, I'm getting a show. But, like, the comedians are always genuinely grateful to them.
Oh, yeah. It's the best. Especially if you, they give you the grace to fail. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let you fucking flounder. Yeah, I think the bad part about hecklers. It's two things. It's I think go do your own show.
Right.
Go get up on stage and stop being a coward. But the other thing is, I think they are so impatient and anxious for something to happen.
Yeah.
That they're trying to force it.
Their personality comes out.
Yeah.
Like, their true character comes out. Like, I think I told you, I was in Queens and, it was a Saturday night, 9 p.m. There are 8 people there. And it was a cold room. And all the comics were shitting on them. They were like, you're a shitty audience. And I was like, well, that's not going to help. But there was, another couple that walked in right when I was going up. And they would not stop talking to me.
Wow.
So I was just like, okay, it's just got to be about them now.
Yeah.
And that was fine.
Yeah.
And they wanted that. And so they were cracking up. So when I got off stage, all the comics were, oh my God, nice set. I was like, honestly, I didn't really do a set. I just kind of talked to them and made fun of them, and they liked it. So it's like they're these attention seekers, similar to comedians, and it's just like they think what they're doing is all right, and it's like, okay, I'm not gonna scold you. It should be all right. This isn't a club. This is just a back room in Queens somewhere, and it's fine.
I love this idea, and I don't know if it's possible to do, but let me throw this out there. There was when I did a UCB. I don't know, a 101, a 301 in New York.
For sketch?
For improv.
Okay.
And when I was there, one of the guys, I want to say his name was Dave.
Okay.
Another white guy named Dave. Was doing the show, and I think his partner was either Persian dude. Mm-hmm. He was definitely not white. Mm-hmm. And they would do a show that they called The Great Debate, I think. Uh-huh. where they would take a topic and everybody in the audience would have something to say about it, and they were kind of like orchestrating from the stage everybody's response.
Oh, nice.
Like, oh, you listen to this, oh, what do you? And then somebody would have a response to it. And there's a part of me that loves this idea so much of just like getting the whole room involved in a discussion. But I'm sure it's like writing chaos. Yeah. I don't know if it's different from crowd work because you're kind of in control and you're like, whatever, picking on particular people in the audience or volunteers. Where this feels like it's everybody is having some kind of say in the matter.
I think that's like always great training. Like I've never gotten improv training. I'm not an improv comic, but I think like improv is it's a really good life lesson in terms of like
absolutely.
How to adjust, how to accommodate, how to make it work.
Yeah.
And it's a genuine skill.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I also think it is a way of reminding adults that they were children once.
Right.
But I think that's the one thing that like so many of those things that you talked about for sure. I did a shit ton of improv, but then the other thing that so yes, the finding your inner child again for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing that I took from it is that listening as a superpower. Right. I think it really works for both stand up and I do clown also.
Oh, you're also a clown?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a clown name?
No. Well, I guess I'm going to be starting to do Twitch under the name Space Circus.
Oh, okay.
But so I think it's going to be
funny.
It's going to be more of me being the ringmaster and then playing all the other characters.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. But what I'd say, like, modern clowning, you don't necessarily have to go so deep into the like bozo persona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, modern clowning is more about like kind of the way I describe it is this, and I think every performer would benefit from taking a clown class. I actually got inspired to take a clown class from June Diane Raphael. She was talking about taking a clown class on one of her podcasts.
Yeah, a lot of comics take clowning classes.
Anna Saragina. Is one of the ones that, she was in a class with me, and I was a fan of her stand-up, and then when I saw her post-clown class stand-up, I can see it in what she's doing. But part of what modern clown is kind of this, it's like a performance stance, where you're like, it's whatever, it's presentational, but it's like, oh, I'm doing a bit, and then you're checking in with the audience, seeing how it's going.
Sure.
So it's about being in this really super duper vulnerable spot and being super connected to the audience, which I think as a performer, it's always going to be benefit. Like after doing clown, I can literally go, clown and improv, whatever, all these things, I can literally go up on stage with nothing if I wanted to and make a show out of it. It's really powerful knowing that, because, one of the things that they do, especially improv, you got to just come up with the shit on your own, right?
Yeah.
But with clown, one of the things that they will do is keep on making you come back until you connect with the audience. No, you didn't look at us, go backstage. No, you didn't look at us, go backstage.
That's the thing. I heard that the training for clowning, it's got this militant aspect to it. Yeah. And I love the tenets of clowning. I'm not a clown. I'm not trained in clowning. Do you know Natisha Anderson?
Oh, I love Natisha.
I love Natisha too.
Yeah, I met her in a clown class.
Yeah. So she was describing...
Secretly, she's Doug Jones' daughter, right?
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
I didn't know.
When I found out, started following her, Doug Jones, who played Smeagol and... he's like,
is that her adoptive father?
That's her adoptive father.
Yeah.
But he's like basically the modern Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah. So she was just describing the tenets of clowning, and you had asked me about graduating UCLA, so I just finished my doctoral dissertation at UCLA's film school.
I went to UCLA Film School too. Did we ever talk about this?
No, you're a fellow Bruin.
I'm a Bruin, but also I was over at Melnitz.
That's amazing.
Yeah, this is fucking crazy.
That's wild. I love that. So But I got it in film criticism.
So was Bambi one of your teachers?
Bambi
No,
Higgins was not my teacher, but
No.
she's a dear friend.
Oh, good.
I love Bambi.
Yeah,
she's been so supportive during because I write about television and comedy, and she wrote about television and comedy.
She was one of my television criticism
she's such
teachers.
a great teacher.
Yeah.
And she's like a great mentor and just a supportive person overall. So, Bambi was at UCI
That's right.
by the time I got there.
Is John Caldwell still there?
He's there, but he recently retired.
Oh, okay.
He was supposed to be my thesis advisor, my dissertation chair. But because he was retiring, he was just hesitant to do it. So he's just part of my committee.
Yeah, good.
And Chon Noriega is my advisor.
Oh, yes. Was starting just as I left.
He's great.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of got this like dickish persona on the surface, but he's actually really lovable and genuine, and he's like caring, and he's hilarious.
I want to say, why do I know Chon? Maybe he was in grad school while I was there.
Really?
Maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, but he's awesome too. Like like talking to him feels like a psychedelic trip.
Oh yeah.
Because he's got so many interesting ideas, and they're like weird and new, and I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Make it weird, make it new. I hate boring shit.
So I just signed up for, do you know the Neo-Futurists?
No, what is that?
I should send you the...
Neo-Futurists?
So Neo-Futurists is a theater troupe in Chicago. And I guess they've been around for a while, but the class is it's a 2-minute experimental theater video project, right? So you're coming up with these 2-minute experimental videos as part of the it was only $250.
Good boy. There's water there for dogs.
For I think there's 20 classes, something like that. It's a total. Is there actual water in there?
You want some water, baby?
Did you bring some water?
I have
Thank
some water.
You.
Yeah.
Wow, all the people. John had just started there when he had just
Really?
come from Cal State Long Beach. I graduated officially in 2002.
Wow. Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, that is 20 years ago. That's
Dude.
crazy. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of all those guys.
But to finish the Natisha story real
Natisha,
quick.
yes.
So for my doctoral dissertation, I was writing about masculinity in Korean variety TV shows. And there's this one TV show called Infinite Challenge. And it's just like 6 grown-ass men. They're all comedians. And they just do ridiculously high-stakes, impossible challenges. But the goal is to succeed. Like trying to pull a Boeing airplane together. Just the 6 of them. By themselves.
Oh,
just with their hands.
Okay.
Or like trying to beat the spin cycle in a washing machine by just wringing towels with their hands. It's like stupid shit.
Yeah. It almost feels like some of those Japanese game show antics.
100%, because that's where the influence is from.
Yeah.
But I was just like, when I was talking to Natisha about clowning, she was like, it's not about succeeding. It's about the failure, and that failure is the journey, and that's the process, and that's the show. That's the point of it.
Yeah.
The clown is never supposed to succeed. They're always supposed to fail. So I was like, oh my God, the tenets of clowning are in Infinite Challenge. Because none of those bitches succeed.
No.
They're always going to fail, but like watching the show's purpose is that.
Well, and literally, I want to just check to make sure that the recorder's on.
Oh, okay.
I just had a little paranoid thought because you're giving all this great. Yeah, it's going.
Awesome.
Well, it's funny, but watch. So the vulnerability, right, of the clown, the flop, is the moment when things are not working.
Yes.
Being in that moment of like, oh shit, this isn't working. People fucking love seeing
They're
that.
dying laughing.
They love it.
Yeah.
And that's why The Fool is such a powerful kind of character.
Yeah.
Because he, like, my favorite tarot card obviously is the Fool, because he's got his bindle stick.
Yeah.
He's got his little white dog.
Yeah.
And he's like blissfully like walking off the edge of a cliff, looking up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen?
But then that's also this perfect metaphor for like trauma victims in a way.
Sure.
Because like, you know, like me and my therapist, we work on like trauma therapy.
Yeah.
Because I have PTSD from childhood
Fuck
mostly.
yeah.
And,
Welcome to the club.
And a friend of mine asked me, he's like, well, how do you get over that? And I was like, there is probably never a getting over, you know? It's like every day I get up, I meditate, I journal, I paint something, I write something, I do comedy. That is me doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm trying to get over that by doing all these things.
Yeah, sure.
I'm never going to get over it. But
Yeah.
the point is I'm doing those things.
Yeah.
It's that process. It's my existence and my artwork, my creativity. Like, that's all it is.
Kind of an image that just popped into my head as you're telling this is like, you know, and I know it's usually not physical abuse, but it's almost like a hand or something hitting you, and as the blood pours out, it's actually all of your creative works, your comedy, your art, the music that you know, it's like, it's this beautiful wound that generates all of this kind of magic.
Right, but like people who actually seen the shit, been through the shit, we don't romanticize it really.
I do and I don't. To me, it's a like I'm writing a book about the devil, which it turns out is really my mother.
Of course she is. Yeah.
I'd say romanticize in the sense of like, I don't fucking want to dance with that same energy anymore. Like, I'm not into it. I can't, like, whatever. I can't date women that are anything like my mother. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So there's a lot of that, right?
I understand. Yeah. But I mean, romanticizing as in like, you know, I don't know. It's like this emo thing.
But I will say that the emo thing I do relate to a little bit. What I mean is this.
Okay.
I got the fucking tattoos. I got the fucking shitty attitude.
You got the piercings.
Somebody fucking comes at me and they say some shit. I'm gonna be like, look, this is a repetition of something I've already fucking dealt with, or maybe I'll snap out or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't well, but again, like, the romance part of it is that I can use my pain to extract myself from any situation.
Okay.
Which is like what we were just talking about, like being on stage and having your back against the wall.
Right.
You know, you right, bud? You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. I know it's like, it's a little bit warmer close to the ground. It is.
It's hot today.
Yeah.
The temperature just went up today.
Yeah. Well, it started hitting late afternoon last night.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
My friends were wearing shorts.
Oh my God, in California?
That's how you could tell when the girls' butts start sticking out of their shorts. It's like, oh, it's because summer's here.
We're here, guys. Get your butts out. Butts. Yeah. But the topic at hand.
Yeah.
How fucking trauma creates serial killers.
Yes.
So let me just give you my base theory, right?
Yeah.
So I have a friend that does the O.J. Simpson murder tour.
Okay.
He drives a white Ford Bronco.
Lord.
Adam Papagan's his name, and he takes people to all the various
Good
parts
God.
of Brentwood.
I can't believe that's a tour. Okay. All right.
Yeah, people. I mean, he's not making as much money at it, partially because of the pandemic, but also, like, I think the juices.
The fact that it's a market is like, whoa.
Well, so, and one of the reasons why Adam has a connection is he was going to Brentwood High School. He was actually at the high school the day that his kids were picked up, and then the murder happened. So it was.
It's downtown LA.
Look at that! Wow.
And then if we go closer over there, you can see the ocean.
Holy smack!
That's why this is a nice view.
This is amazing.
So he was picking up his kids.
Yeah, and then so it was the day of the murder. So he was in a matrix of this was happening around him during his teenage years. So he has a connection to it. You know, he's got a very real he grew up in that neighborhood. He
Oh,
was,
shit, yeah.
you know, kind of like traumatized by all these events going on.
It was pretty shocking, yeah.
So, my theory, I have no doubt whatsoever
Yeah.
that Mr. Orenthal James Simpson murdered 2 people that day.
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah.
theories. I was a meth dealer at the time that he was on fucking meth.
Right.
But that notwithstanding, the man was a professional football player
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
He had his fucking bell rung
With head
on
trauma.
a daily fucking basis.
On a daily. He's not himself.
He's not. So yeah. So let's start there.
Exactly.
So I would say
Yeah.
the Jews wanted to be a fucking white guy. He
Yeah.
wanted to fucking be in
Yes.
Brentwood. He was like, I'm not black. I'm the
Yeah.
Jews.
Yeah.
Right. He really, really wanted to live that life.
Yep.
And got the white wife and whatever, you know.
Got the white life.
The white life, yes. So I think with all of his brain injuries over the years, and probably some trauma from being a black man trying to make it in a white man's world, that had probably, I bet you if he got a brain scan, it would reveal the same kind of brain scans that were in the documentary.
Yeah.
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 So, and again, like, I'm not excusing he did the thing. He
Yeah.
somehow got out of not having to serve time for it because
Yeah.
of his wealth and power.
Yeah.
So that's my main theory. But also, Roseanne Barr and Sam Kinison
Right.
are known to have had big
Head trauma.
head trauma,
Yeah.
and they are fucking. Sam was one of the greatest.
One of the greatest.
when he was, and also Roseanne when she was before, just right
She
around
was
the
amazing too.
right around the time of like her getting her TV show.
Yeah.
Just fantastic, so funny.
Yeah.
I think now she's living in the dotage of somebody who's had that same brain injury for years, and so it expresses itself as anti-Semitism and or whatever craziness.
Yeah, people, they go to weird places in order to feel okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Similar to what you're saying about being cornered and you're back up against the wall. It's like that's similar with trauma. I think I was just thinking about narcissism.
Oh yeah.
Coming here.
Oh yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, my dad's kind of a narcissist, but he's not like severe. And I just
he's
feel like
he's not a malignant narcissist.
he's not. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he is still one.
Yeah.
And it is painful to be a child of one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I was just thinking, like, I mean, he's gone through some shit. So it's like all it is just a defense mechanism, It's like this defense mechanism ends up becoming a mental disability or mental illness.
So my analysis of narcissism is kind of this. It is. So the person has depression because of these things that are happening to them.
Right.
So they have depression's a brain injury,
Sure.
right?
Oh, okay.
Right. So you have a depressed brain, and it's making you behave in depressed ways.
Mm-hmm.
Could be from a variety of reasons: trauma, diet, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a depressed brain. Now, over the course of having a long-term depressed brain that's not getting any treatment or meditation or whatever it is, whatever the things that make your brain stop being depressed, you start forming. And again, there's a lot of them, but a narcissistic personality disorder is the big one.
Yeah.
These pathologies, right? These gigantic personality disorders that are coping mechanisms for this fucking brutal wound that you have festering inside of you.
Yeah.
As I say about any narcissist, I'm very good at sorting them out, fucking figuring them out right away.
Yeah.
You can say something to a narcissist, like the shittiest thing that you could say to them, you could say it to their face, and they are not going to even take it in because they feel worse for themselves than anything that you could say.
Always.
What they're going to do is they're going to take that and they're going to weaponize it against you.
Yeah.
If somebody says something shitty to me, I'm going to be like, oh, that really hurt. I don't want to hang out anymore. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
But a narcissist is like, oh, really? Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
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 And it's a defense thing, and so. But the problem, I don't know. So I liked what you were saying about, like, I'm not going to excuse OJ, but you understand, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's the point. Like when it comes to jurisdiction and like law, we can't skirt those things because we live in a society. We have those things for a reason. I get it. But it's like compassion kind of, you know, it kind of jumps those boundaries. Understanding goes beyond those boundaries, I would say.
Yeah.
Even like, check out this film. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Manshin, and it's about Korean shamanism.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And there was this really...
How do you spell it?
Like man, and then shin.
Okay.
Manshin. It means 10,000 spirits.
Okay.
And that's sort of this like honorable way of addressing a very renowned or like disciplined shaman, a very gifted shaman.
Okay.
So there's this woman, she's a manshin in Korea. She passed away like, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. But she was like incredibly gifted, and she lived through like the fucking Korean War. So she saw a lot of death. Ever since she was a child, like she could predict like households that were going to break up or deaths, or, you know, she could like she has a sense for that. So she was at the border of the DMZ, right? She's at the DMZ, and she's doing
I hate going to the DMZ.
Who likes it? She's at the demilitarized zone, and she's doing her ritual, right? Her performance ritual. And then the spirit comes. And guess whose fucking spirit went into her body?
A soldier.
Fucking Kim Il-sung. The guy who started the fucking Korean Civil War, was the fucking dictator.
Yeah, the grandfather of the current guy.
Yeah. And she had never met the guy, you know? She had never seen him, but there was one man, a novelist, who had seen Kim Il-sung in real life. And so when he saw her, like gesticulating and talking like him, like standing like him, he was like freaked out. And then after the spirit left, she said, "Oh my God, what have I done? Like, am I a traitor to the country? Am I going to be killed?" Because she lived through communist, like that whole, you know, Red Scare shit in Korea. A lot of people were murdered for potentially being a communist back then. So she was terrified, and they were just like, "Look, there's no law against a spirit coming down on you." And then that made me think, oh my God, like spirits go beyond transnational boundaries.
Oh, sure.
You know?
That's interesting. But it's so funny too, because again, she was like, I'll say from the atheist standpoint, right?
Yeah.
She was like literally doing the motions of the person that most traumatized the country, right?
Yeah.
I'd say it was embodying whatever it felt like to be that person. And I think in a shamanic way, like doing the Hitler thing, right? There is a way that you can exorcise some of that energy by play. That's what clown is, right? Clown can be this really dark force that actually, and there's about sacred clowning, right?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, so there's a lot of sacred clowning, but the most kind of readily available is the Heyoka, which was a southwestern, like the Kachinka dolls are kind of Heyoka spirit representations.
That's the ocean over there.
Oh wow! We made it.
Yeah, we made it. Almost at the end of the hike. Yeah.
So what they would do is they would do these ritual dances and performances, and they would wear like various things. If there was something going on with the tribe, they would do these ritual performances.
So they're shamans.
Yeah, they're shamans. They're shamans, but they're also they call them sacred clowns. So there's
shamanism is performance.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
it is performative.
Absolutely.
And that's why the spirits come. It's like they're getting a show, and they're seeing something that's familiar from their past life, and that's when they come and enter. You know, it's like the spirits want to see it.
Yeah.
You know, they want to be honored. They want to be remembered. And that's when they come.
Well, I think like thinking about the head injury thing and like the shamanic energy, it's almost like in a tribal situation, right, where we're going to a place where everybody is related to everybody and everybody has an understanding of everybody, right? The ways in which kind of that shamanic energy was used, is like there would be an understanding. Let's say you had a warrior that went out and got a brain injury or something, got injured in a certain way. Then they would treat this person in a way that would capitalize on the new impulses that they had, right? He might be the Star Warrior because he's a real like murderous dirtbag or whatever, you know. But there would be a place for him. So this now gets me to like what's going on with a lot of the cops in our culture, right? These poor traumatized little boys that the only thing that they think that gives them any fucking power is getting a gun and fucking getting a badge and being able to shoot whoever they want. Now these guys have real personality disorders, real trauma. They got some real brain damage going on. And then on top of that, they go and get training that helps them bypass the fucking the humane side of
the
them.
vulnerable part.
Then it's called killology is one of the classes that you could take just makes you automatically just pull your gun and shoot when you just suspect that there's something wrong.
It's like the worst.
It is the worst. And again, like it's being laid on top of these already broken kind of sad, you know, kind of like socially incompatible people. Left? Okay, great. I felt
because like impulse is like the thing that we're trying to get rid of through mindfulness, adding steps before we react, right? That's all the healthy shit. But then that training gets rid of that even more.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's really about
turns
like
a person into a weapon.
You just become this conditioned operant, you know, response.
That's awful.
It is. So you reminded me of something, and I'm going to say, I'm already a very dark human being, but you're going to get an extra little slice of darkness. So I probably mentioned this. My brother accidentally killed my father. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things I wrote a book about my dad too, back in the day, and the analysis that I had, like kind of the difference between me and my brother and why he was the one that did that thing and why I would be the one that could never do that thing, is that he is reacting from this unconscious space. From this reactive space. And the kind of what I came up with when writing the book was there are really two kinds of people in the world, and I call them conscious and unconscious for lack of a better term, but it's people that can take a moment before something happens and decide how they're going to react rather than just flatly reacting. And then the unconscious people that just are reactive.
We don't have to go down because it's basically the end of the road.
I love this though.
Yeah, it's the rich people's.
Yeah.
And the rich people's here. Golf course.
This is where I got to get the bazooka.
Yeah. Over there is like, I guess, Santa Monica or whatever.
Yeah. We're right on we're officially in the Santa Monica Mountains. Yeah. It is quite beautiful, and it does make me want to figure out how to make some money.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could own property here, or
maybe not here. My fantasy is to find a house that's already got a beautiful garden. You know, something that already has, like I was I had to drop off some money for rent. It's in like kind of near this Federal Credit Union in Burbank. And you know, there's like, I don't know, like a dozen houses that just have like a big hedge of roses, and then there's some bougainvilleas, and then they have like, some of the yards are like native plant, so you don't have to go so crazy on the watering.
So between like mountain and ocean, are you more mountain guy?
I mean, is there a way of doing like
a half?
Like, because I feel like parts of these areas are like both, right? Because right now we're getting the coastal wind, the coastal coolness.
Yeah, I want both too. I want to live on a cliff. In Maine.
but then if you could get in someplace like here and have like a garden, like both like a beautiful garden, native plant garden, and something to eat. Yeah, and then just like you saw, like I want as much outdoor space as possible.
Dude, I love that you have a fire pit in your backyard. That's so badass.
Right? And it was kind of even though it's a vestigial creation of the bad roommate that I had. I'm glad he did it, but it was like I was part of the creative process.
Sometimes bad people bring some worthwhile shit.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And then it's like, thanks, but also bye.
Look at that cutie. He's just like,
yeah, Barney, take it in. Aw.
One day, son, this will all be yours. Hakuna Matata.
He likes the view. That's so cute.
It is. He's got so much personality. I mean,
And it's nice to see him like here where like I get to see him because I usually see him at your home and he's a little shy and like, you know, but out here he's just like free and he's himself. It's like seeing a person on stage.
yeah.
You know, like
Well, this is his stage. When we get to go on these hikes with other people, he really, he loves it. He loves new hikes. He loves, meeting new people, but he knows you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're an old friend. And, because I think he gets the opportunity to, and because he's off leash, he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Freedom.
Which is like, I could never, like, I've got a ticket that I have to appear on for him not being on a leash.
This is a like dog friendly hike.
Yeah.
So you're good.
Shall we?
Yeah. Barney, let's go. Oh, you were talking about how you could never be your brother.
No, because I see a lot of these distinctions. Like, one of the very first distinctions between me and him is I went to a Montessori school.
Or what school?
Do you know Montessori?
No.
Maria Montessori was this Italian educator. I forget. She has a real sweet name for what she calls, her. It's like her schools is like a child emporium, or no, it's not that. Children's academies or something like that.
Okay.
Where making the kind of foregrounding the curiosity of the child is the what they're trying to do.
So is this your older brother?
He's younger than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're the older brother.
I'm the alpha.
Wow, you're the big brother.
I'm the big brother. And again, like, this part of all this stuff has to do with complications because of my mother, because they got, Jerry and Aaron got divorced when I was 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that was right when Matt was born. So he was born literally
into a broken family.
into a broken home. And, I don't know how much he internalized, if he was to blame for any of it or whatever. But he was always a token between them. Like, he was part of the treaty of Aaron and Jerry was my brother. And he never got to enjoy the 6 years of bliss that I had, being able to crawl in bed with mom and dad and being the star,
all the love, feel with the cuddles.
And so he didn't have any of that.
Nothing to fall back to.
No.
Yeah.
And then because my mother, she's a very brilliant woman. Like again, I don't know, she'd probably undiagnosed autism.
Right.
Nurse and lawyer. Just like literally one of the smartest people I've known in my life, but because she had that, what they call autistic sociopathy. Have you heard of this?
No.
So
she's a sociopath?
Well, I'll delve into that in a second. So there's this way, and it's been kind of like documented, that autistic people can present in very sociopathic ways, almost like robots, right?
Okay.
So, like, is Data on the Next Generation a sociopath? Not necessarily, but he can think in such clean ways that he can get so far away from human emotion that it seems sociopathic.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, so my mother, for most of my life, I felt that she was faking her emotions, like crocodile tears and all that stuff. So I then learned to fake my emotions to compete.
Did you grow up in the Midwest?
I grew up here.
Oh, you're from Southern California?
Yeah, grew up in the LBC.
Wow.
What about you?
I grew up in New York.
Ah.
Yeah, I moved out here 6 years ago.
Oh, well, congrats. Welcome home.
Thanks. I've only felt like this place is home very recently.
Well,
It took a long time.
I have real problems with New York, and you were in the city?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manhattan, Brooklyn. But I also went to high school in the suburbs.
Okay, so that's at least a little bit of a break.
Very white, very Irish. It was rough.
Like Long Island?
No, it was Rockland County.
Oh, yeah.
And it is like my school was notorious for being the most racist in the county. Like, that's what it was known for.
Wow.
When we were learning about Japanese internment camps, every single kid in my class was like, yeah, it's good that we locked up the Japs.
Wow.
They all said that. We were like in 8th grade or 9th grade. And my history teacher was also Irish. She just didn't know what the fuck to do.
No. But also, I mean, I don't want to say part of it is the era. I mean,
it was the era because, you know, it was right after 9/11.
No, but that too. But also meaning the era, meaning like, so I do this weird cultural comparison where I'm like, Australia is kind of socially right now in the late 80s, early 90s, right? Right? I think there are definitely parts. We know for sure that there are definitely parts of America that are still in the 19th century. I mean, the Amish, right? Right? You know what I'm saying?
Social Amish.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
So, but I feel like Rockland County, that's like almost like a fucking.
That's a good point.
It's like an outpost of fucking Boston up
That's
there.
a good
You
point.
know?
It is 100% like that.
Yeah, which Boston to me still feels culturally they're in the 50s.
Like those Irish Americans that I grew up with or lived with in high school, they were so anti-Semitic that they were like, we need to make our communions huge. Because all these Jews have these massive bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, and we need to make it enormous.
We gotta outdo them. We gotta outdo them. Yeah.
I was just like, are you kidding? I thought this is like a spiritual thing. Clearly not. They sucked. I don't talk to any of my high school friends. I only talked to one. She just had a baby. She bought a house in New Jersey. And honestly, when I went to see her, I was just like, oh my God, I'm so glad none of my relationships worked out.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't think I could do what she's doing. Not to say that I don't think what she's doing is wrong. She's happy, and I think she got the American dream in a lot of ways, but I was just like, I can't imagine that kind of existence.
No, well, I mean, obviously, I'm not built that way either. I don't have very good relationships with many of my friends from high school.
Yeah.
My very, very closest best friend, Travis, he is just a damn saint of a person. He's really just the sweetest human being.
Yeah.
I think he still goes to Protestant church. Well, good for him. You know, it's something.
Yeah.
He teaches biology at university. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's a lovely man. Yeah. And his wife, Rita, is one of the sweetest, kindest human beings. Sure. That she was raised Catholic. She's Hungarian. She's a scientist too. She's a computer scientist. But, and of course, because I'm a little bit of a ne'er-do-well, I'm a little bit of a rogue, I love them. I can see them, but it's a very like controlled circumstances because, and one of the kind of the good and bad things that happened is Rita got knocked up when she was 19. So they have an adult child now.
Yeah.
And, Tim's great. He had some heart problems. So he's kind of like, he was treated very special. And then Michaela, I think she just graduated high school, is just brilliant. She's just one of the super smartest, but she's also got that anxiety of a smart girl, you know. You know how it feels. Like just nothing's ever right.
Yeah.
But if they hadn't gotten knocked up, I don't know if they would have created this American dream that they have right now.
This beautiful family.
And because I know them all so well, I know the various darknesses.
Oh yeah, everybody has them.
Yeah.
Like all my married friends, they're I don't know. They have to tell themselves, like, I always have divorce as an option in order to make the marriage work, you know? To offer themselves some reprieve when they feel so frustrated with their partner.
I mean, talk about fucking 19th century fucking paradigms, fucking marriage. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And you know what's fucked up? Not fucked up. It's just kind of natural.
Well, it's probably indoctrinated natural, but yes.
No. What I feel like is natural is after they get married, they become a little more conservative. Sure. Like, especially after they have a kid.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was just like, okay. So this was before I met you, but I was on acid. It was in the summer.
Oh, so it wasn't my drugs.
I remember saying this to myself. I was like, I'm never going to have children. And I was like, this is a political decision I'm making because a woman's body in her womb is like a magical thing. It's like a miracle that we're able to do that, make human beings. That's why women are suppressed all around the world. It's because men
they're
know.
fucking. But again, they're man factories because you can't make a man without a woman's body.
Look at all the cows. Look at all the pigs. Look at livestock. Look at bees. So I was just like, okay, I refuse to give this world a child because that's my fucking boycott.
Sure, and I also
that.
think it's a commodification. Like it's ultimately. I think the conservativeness and the commodification aspect come together, meaning like your baby is a commodity.
Yeah, and a worker.
And a worker, or a soldier, or you know, whatever, you know.
A contributor. Something that society always needs. That's why countries like South Korea, where they have like a very low birth rate every single year for the last like 10 years, they're always freaking out because they're like, who's going to take care of our elders? I'm like, you mean who's going to pay the taxes for Social Security? That's what you guys are worried about.
Well, there's that. Well, you know.
And they got all this other shit. It's like, you know, they were so racist. You know, and they had reasons for it. It's like they were colonized and all this shit.
And again, I would say like there is, when we talk about the conscious versus unconscious, I think one of the unconscious narratives of a race or a group is the in-group versus out-group, right? So I think that it's just when you are not a conscious culture or race or whatever it is,
and don't have the privilege to be conscious, because you're being raped
repressed.
and pillaged.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they went through that for like a century, and you know now they're all like top economy in the world and shit. But they're very anti-Southeast Asians.
Yeah.
You know, they exploit migrant workers. They exploit migrant brides.
I mean, it's like the Germany of that part of the world.
Well, now it is. It used to be Japan.
Yeah.
Like I always called it Japan like the Nazi of Asia, because they were. I mean, they were fucking allies with Germany for a good reason. They learned how to be a colonizer or an imperial empire, but from the British.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, the British fucking set the tone for everyone.
For everybody. So Japan just like thrived off of that, and all of Korea was victim to that. And then after Korea got out of it, they ended up doing the same thing.
Yeah, but it's also it's this interesting shift of technology too, right? Where South Korea was able to pull themselves out of subsistence farming right at the same time when all these technologies are coming out to make them be able to play on the world stage.
Yeah,
you know,
and you know what's fucked up is like a lot of those technological equipment like TV, radio, like, you know, computers today and Samsung phones today, tablets, like that shit was like built by teenage girls.
Yeah.
They were all factory work. My mom was a factory worker.
Wow.
When she was like 14 or 15.
She was part of the industrial technological revolution.
She was
Look at that.
sent away by her farmer
I want
parents.
to say Rosie the Riveter, but what's your mom's?
Yeah, but she didn't feel empowered like Rosie the Riveter.
Well, no, but the Rosie the Riveter was but it was a marketing to
a symbol, right?
Yeah, well, no, yeah, but came back was kind of created as a way to be a feedback loop to make these women feel like they were helping the war cause.
But in my mom, she felt
it was
a
indoctrination.
sense of abandonment because her parents sent her away.
Yeah.
And they said, you can't go to school anymore.
Yeah.
And she really wanted to go to school. So she's like working at a factory, sending money back home. And all of her younger siblings end up going to school.
Wow.
And going to college. And to this day, that rubs her the wrong way.
Well, she should go back to school.
She did. But guess what she went back to school for? Fucking theology. And she cheated the whole time, had like 20-year-olds doing all of her exams. And she's just like a fake BA holder. I mean, I'm proud of her for doing what she wanted to do. But still, like, I mean, talking to her, she's still the same. Yeah. So, okay, this is what I want to tell you.
By the way, I love, that is... Because my mom was, I want to say, a little bit of the opposite. She could just absorb everything, and it did change because she was such a robot. It did change her. Like, it's like, now I am nurse. I am robo-nurse. And then when she became a lawyer, she was like robo-lawyer.
She was a lawyer?
Yeah, she started off She started psychology, nursing, lawyer.
She went from medicine to law?
Yeah, well, okay.
Your mom was a brilliant person.
She was brilliant, but because she didn't have any people skills... she was not good at being a lawyer.
Got it.
Because you had to be able to fucking read people.
You're a counsel.
Yeah.
You know, you're counsel. You gotta counsel people.
The truth is, the reason she went back to law school is because she was so embittered by the divorce She wanted to fucking squeeze as much out of my dad as legally possible. Yeah. She had a fucking motivation. She was totally motivated to go back to law school.
Driven by revenge.
Yeah, driven by revenge. Which again, from Robot Mom, she will never say it.
Yeah.
But it's
there.
And the coup de grace of all of this stuff was somehow she got my dad's new wife to borrow $40,000 from her sister to pay back child support for me and my brother.
Jesus Christ.
Right? She fucking shook down that fucking family. Lord. Oh, you're gonna get married? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It is fucking, like, it was a total mafia move. My mother's a gangster.
That's wow.
Yeah. But this is the shadow I'm living under. Bro. Right? This is like the two gods in my life. One, the more powerful, sinister god, did everything she could to destroy the sweet kind. Like it's the way I used to characterize her, I still do, is sad dad and robot mom, right? You know, he was just a sweet Christian. He had probably some developmental disabilities going on. Oh. But he's a great guy.
What did your father do?
He was a photographer.
Wow, so an artist
and
then this robot.
And a robot, yes.
Wait, no, so this one I want to tell you, like, remember when I stopped by with Marissa when she was buying stuff? And we briefly had a chat, and I was like, oh, like, I'm sorry about your mother.
Oh, yeah.
And then you were like, oh, yeah, my OCD and all this stuff is coming right back up right now. I'm dealing with that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, but remember, you have a community that loves you.
Oh, thank you.
And when I said that, I was saying it to myself, too.
Yeah.
Because when I saw you, it was the day after I got back from New York.
Oh, yeah, seeing your parents.
I saw my parents for the first time in 4 years. And I only saw them for 10 minutes. And I said everything was fine. But then, when I woke up on Thursday morning, Friday morning, Saturday morning, I was enraged. I had, like, mad rage going on. And then I realized what it was. When I was getting into the car at the driveway to, like, leave my parents' house, my mom said this. She goes, say good, all right?
I'm ready.
She goes, say goodbye to your father. And she knows, like, I have a really bad relationship with my dad. So that sound, like, because she says it all the time. Say goodbye to your father. Ask your dad this. I'm like, that.
Want to carry you a little bit, buddy?
That feeling of being trapped.
Yes.
You know, and like that's where the rage comes from because I feel trapped.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry.
I felt emotionally and mentally trapped, and I was just like, why is she making a demand out of me that it's like impossible for me to fulfill? Also, I was already going to say goodbye. What the fuck is this? You know?
Yeah, no, it's
micromanaging.
Well, it's manipulative.
It's so manipulative.
Well, it's so funny because I don't get this from you, but also we haven't hung out very much. Yeah. But I found that a lot of Korean women can be, and Chinese women too.
Really?
Yeah, my friends.
It's a bit of a stereotype, but I'll let it pass because there's truth to it.
Well, no, but my friend Warren, Mr. Lamb, is Chinese, and he just has so much contention with his mother, and again, like it's like I think it's mostly a cultural thing, where I think the demands of the family are put on the mother rather than the father. So then I think the way in which many people manage their households is through manipulation. I don't think it's just a Korean and Chinese thing.
I think, being the domestic manager is like you have to be a constant mediator and like a social lubricant and a bridge. But it's like,
then you gotta be a cop also.
Yeah, but it's just like, Mom, like you can't do that because all of us are broken up and we need to stay separated. Yeah. We can't. Whatever idyllic vision she has, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not possible. I tried since 2009, I tried twice. No, 3 times. This is the 3rd time. And it's like, I feel like I gave it a really great college try for 12 years. And now I know what it is. And like when I was raging out, and I was talking to my therapist about this on Friday, and I was like, oh, like, just the other day, I saw my friend Sean, his mother just died, and he was telling me that he's feeling a little, some difficulty with that. And I said, well, he has a community that loves him. And I started crying. I was like, I was saying that to myself. Yeah. Because my family is not my fucking community. No. They're not my family. No. My chosen family is my fucking family. Yeah. And, it's like... And
I also think, not just because I'm not a fan of New York, but I also think that LA is the place for people to be, in the sense of that if you're a performer, if you're an artist, if you're a person that's trying to kind of like be a sensitive being in the world, LA is great for that. I mean, yes, it is a little
For
snaky.
sensitivity, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
it is a little snake. It can be a little snaky, and it can like attempt to crush people's creative
Snaky
dreams.
because of the industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's waiting to pluck our
Yeah.
juicy,
And all the New
heart-filled
York creatives,
souls.
when they hit the threshold, they all move out to LA because this is where the industry is.
Yeah.
But I agree that LA's got a little bit more of that reprieve, that space to let in some of the good shit. Whereas
Yeah.
like New York is like everybody's so overworked
Yeah.
because everything's so fucking expensive
Yeah.
and everybody's in survival mode
Yeah.
that they can't just let their shit kind of settle.
Have you
They're
ever seen-
always on the run.
Have you ever seen My Dinner with Andre?
No.
Oh, you need to take a look at it.
It's good?
Yeah, it's Andre Gregory, he was a New York theater director, and Wallace Shawn, who was an actor. He was in he played he was in Princess Bride, Indubitably. That's Wallace Shawn.
Okay.
So it's basically just a conversation between the two of them at dinner.
Oh.
Just literally like just one conversation. But one of the lines that they mention is Gregory saying like, yeah, I've noticed that everybody talks about leaving New York, but nobody ever actually leaves New York.
Nobody leaves.
And he says, I think New York is the model for the modern prison.
It is. And
Yeah.
you know who else said that? Lou Reed.
Yeah?
He's like, I talk about leaving New York all the time, and I've been saying it for the last 27 years.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie, Blue in the Face?
What's
Paul
that?
Auster co-directed it with
Oh, shit,
Wayne
yeah.
Wang, and it's all improvised. So they were
Nice.
making a movie called Smoke originally,
I remember Smoke.
and then
That's the one with Harvey Keitel's in
yeah,
it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So they made
Yes, I know Blue in the Face.
Blue in
yeah.
the Face like as a side thing.
It was kind of at the same time.
At the same time, but it was a better movie
Yeah.
than Smoke. Does he have enough water? Here, you want more water, buddy?
Oh, you're so kind. We have water back at the car, but thank you.
Nah. It was so cute. Like when we're walking, he would stop and like go under a shade
Oh yeah,
just to cool off. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you're such a good boy.
and he's so smart too. Like he does this thing now when we go on certain hikes that he's very familiar with, where he'll just stop before we go, and just be like, "Are we doing this again? Really?" And then so I'm like, "Yeah, come on. Okay, we'll take the shady path." And yesterday we did. I tried to take him out to the river. It's kind of adjacent to Griffith Park, and I just had to find a trail that had plenty of shade covering for him. Which is fair. Like he's covered in fur.
Cutie.
He's close to the ground, which is hot. Dogs can't sweat, so they can't regulate their heat.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it's like I get it. I am taking care of you, bud. I do care about you. Back to your mother's
saying?
fake degree. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
yeah, my mom's
Blue,
fucking
or do you want to
fake
go back to
degree.
blue
Oh
in the
yeah,
face?
Blue in the Face. I was just so impressed by that film. Roseanne Barr's in that movie.
Oh yeah, that's
And
right.
Wayne Wang was like, I was so afraid of Roseanne. Like, he was like, I was afraid she was just going to be screaming at me the whole time. They also made that movie by accident because Paul Auster wrote Smoke, but Wayne Wang was ill. So Paul Auster directed a lot of the scenes in Blue in the Face. So that movie came out of an accident, like a production hiccup. And if you think about it, so many wonderful things happen out of accidents.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I think the biggest problem I have with, let's say, modern filmmaking, especially, let's say, Marvel movies, is what I would compare them to a lot is kabuki theater, right? That they are these are the heroes, and these is the things that we can do. And again, they all fall into these kind of whatever, half a dozen tropes. It's always going to be the stakes are always the whole universe. It's like, who gives a shit? If I fucking saw a movie where a person's fucking stubbed their toe and they got a fucking infected fucking nail, and they're fucking dealing with it with the whole movie, and it's just making them sicker and sicker, that's going to be more fucking interesting than fucking Galactus snapping his fingers and killing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
But that's the way I see
a guy with a rotting toe trying to make the best of it.
But they got so much money behind it, and they got so much everything is
You're right. It's the stakes. It's too fucking high.
Yeah. Well, the stakes are too fucking high, and the money is too. It's too good. It's too
much.
Everything is perfect.
So maybe this is it.
Huh.
there should be a cap on a budget for all movies.
There should be a cap on a budget for everything.
For
CEOs,
income,
for
CEOs,
companies.
for income,
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
When I talk about this, my libertarian gay Swiss friend Thomas always gives me shit. He's like, "You're talking about communism. That's communism." I was like, "What? So what?"
Yeah, great.
There's a reason why it failed. I was like, "So what?
Yeah.
You think capitalism's succeeding? Like, look at all the
well, here's the thing.
consequences of it."
Here's capitalism's success will be the destruction of all humanity in the planet.
Yeah.
That is the end result of capitalism.
Yeah.
Of infinite growth.
That's what Duncan Trussell said. He was like, you think we're trying to save the earth? No, we're trying to save ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, the earth will be here even though we're long gone.
I mean, it's going to be all black mold, cockroaches, and fucking whatever can live off. Oh, and zebra mussels. You know about the zebra mussels?
No, what is that?
Okay, so and this is one of these little like beautiful, shitty things that fucking capitalism creates. So a zebra mussel is a very invasive kind of mussel that is normally a deep sea kind of mussel, but
Oh, you're talking about the shellfish.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
the
okay.
mussel. Yeah,
I
so
thought you meant like an actual mussel.
yeah, you fucking zebra
like,
mussels,
whoa.
bro. I'm getting them implanted. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing: mostly just the zebra legs.
So they're mussels.
So
in the
their
sea.
muscle is from the sea. So what happens is these giant tankers or shipping ships fill them in their bilge, right? Because they're trying to like what do they call that? They're trying to adjust the buoyancy of these giant ships over in deep sea.
They do that with the mussels?
So they suck in all this water to adjust their buoyancy, and it gets inside of their bilge. Then they go into the Great Lakes, which is not a natural environment. They expel their bilge, and now all of the Great Lakes are choked out with zebra mussels because it is an environment that the zebra mussel can so invade that it's destroyed so much of the Great Lakes area just from this dumb byproduct of this shipping industry.
That's an accident.
But it's an industrial accident.
It's a destructive one.
Yeah, it is created by the greed of these shipping companies. Oh, so you know that that jumpsuit I was wearing?
Yeah, the red one.
Yeah, so it's the company is called Seadrill, and it turns out I went and did a little because this guy mentioned he's like, oh, I went to this.
Do you want to climb that?
Sure.
I've never been up there.
Why not?
Let's try it.
I went to
hard,
this tarot class, and a guy there was like,
you take a lot of classes.
He's like, well, I don't go to school anymore, so I got to keep figuring shit out.
I hear you.
But yeah, but this is like kind of through the Gnostic church I go to. But he says he works for bankruptcy attorneys, and this company came through on his paperwork. So I looked them up on Wikipedia, and it turns out that they are a drilling platform company that is chartered in the Bahamas for the tax breaks.
Wow.
The the CEO that owned it is Norwegian, and their home base is somewhere in like Louisiana.
Damn.
So it's one of these things where because they are creating,
it was very premeditated.
yes, and the reason that these jumpsuits are available at my local iguanas is because they dissolved the company.
Oh.
And so now they had to dump all these jumpsuits the workers were using.
Was it a puppet company then?
And basically, or probably what it was is Seadrill was the contractor that was actually operating the drill on the platform. And it's probably every one of those platforms is a conglomeration of like 15 to 20 corporations kind of just cluster fucking the earth, you know?
God damn.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I mean, I kind of knew, but it's always nice to get reminded.
Like, I knew.
You know?
Oh. Yeah, it's intense, huh? Yeah.
Right, bud?
It was so cute, like how Barney saw us headed this way, and he just knew to go this way.
Oh, yeah. He's always watching me.
It's like, you know when two guitarists are playing at the same time? They look at each other's hands.
Oh, yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah. I mean, this guy is obsessed with me. Totally.
So cute.
And I'm obsessed with him too.
How long have you had him?
Coming on 3 years.
Wow.
And it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Where did you find him?
East Valley Pound.
Wow.
He was. So I was, getting in my head, I wanted to get a dog. And I went out there on a Saturday with one friend. And I spotted him in the kennel. And he was in there with a Maltese.
Aww.
2 small dogs in the kennel together.
Aww.
And he was covered in dreadlocks.
Oh.
And he was trying to get my attention. But then this fucking bully Maltese would come in and like...
Malteses are such cunts.
Yeah, and he would yank on his dreadlocks.
Oh, no.
Like, get out of here.
Oh.
I'm the cute one. And I could just tell the little guy needed help. And it said that he was on a hold. So what happens is, yeah, look at him, smarty pants in the shade.
Good boy.
Oh, so he's on a 3-week hold that was going to be ending the next day. So typically what happens is if you give up your dog to the pound, they'll put him on a 3-week hold just in case you change your mind.
Wow.
So he's all covered in dreadlocks. I'm planning on coming out the next day. And what I realized, him being on the 3-week hold, is that he's probably, his owner was probably an older person,
right,
whose health had changed. And then either they died or they just started neglecting him.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The dreadlocks,
And I think cats were part of his, I'm gonna sit on this tiny seat. Oh, go! Right, buddy? But then I went back the next day, like pretty early in the morning, because I didn't want him to get swooped up by somebody else.
Yeah.
And
there's love.
I went in the meet and greet area, and he just immediately did this thing. He just immediately went behind my legs. And I was like, oh, this guy needs protection. I want to protect him. And he knew. We both knew.
And now he's a lion.
And again, he was very skittish and had a lot of he still got a couple of personality issues. He doesn't like certain dogs. Whatever. He doesn't have to like everybody.
You're right.
But I think he was very anxious, and he had a lot of cat energy to him.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly a lap dog.
Right.
If it was an older person, they probably had most of them have that. But he probably was he was probably keyed into barking at any noise or intruder, so that to protect his ward, as it were.
But
right, buddy?
What he wanted was protection himself.
Yeah.
It's usually what those dogs are like. When they're always anxious and barking at people, they're trying to protect the owner, but the fact is the owner should be protecting them.
Yeah. And so I think what we've done, because we hike so much, because he has run to the house, and I've only surrounded myself with pretty good, warm people. He's got a lot of confidence. He doesn't seem to be very anxious anymore. I can see it though once in a while when it comes, and I of course go over and just hug him and pet him and
let him know it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he's my little lover, right, Barney?
So
he is. And doing this stuff like this, even though he's a little resistant to it at times, it really is this is he's in heaven right now.
He is.
Yeah.
This is his place.
Yeah.
And this is who he really is.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a friend told me this. So Dante Chang, he's a comedian. And he and his wife run a clothing shop on Melrose. And it was late, and I was just kind of hanging around at the store, and they were like, we're hungry, you want to order food? I was like, you don't need to order, I could just run out and get some for you. K-Town's a drive away. And then I was like, fuck that, why did I offer you that? Forget that.
Yeah.
Fuck you, order your own food.
Exactly.
And then Dante goes, don't be the first person, be the second person. I mean, don't be the second person, be the first person, because that first person is the real you. And I was like, oh my God, he's right.
To be kind, to be generous. I mean, I love being helpful. That is my core being, is wanting to be helpful.
And us not wanting to be helpful is hang-ups, you know? Like, well, fuck that bitch. You know, fuck that bitch. It's like, I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to that. It's the ego's need and the ego's illness, really, that's reacting.
Yeah.
When you say, well, no, forget that. I'm not a doormat. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right?
No, but if I offer, it's different than if somebody trying to manipulate me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I offer it, I do it because they're my friends and I love them and I want to share a meal with them. That's why I did it.
Exactly.
And then my insecurities spoke up and was like, no, fuck them.
And then he manipulated you back into the... No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Into the first. But
I'm joking.
I was glad that he said that. You know, it was like one of those big brother moments. He was like, be the first person, don't be the second.
Yeah. Because I think realistically, like, I do a lot of that at times, and then sometimes people will expect that from me, and I'm like, I didn't fucking volunteer for this. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. I'm surprisingly, I mean, I'm probably too good with my boundaries lately, but I am very good with my boundaries. I mean, you know, because I had a person my whole life, my mother, who would trounce on my boundaries.
She had no boundaries, no?
Oh, well, it's because, she would not let me have any boundaries.
Oh, she was invasive.
Yeah, and...
in like an emotional way?
In every way possible.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'll tell you the one story that is so emblematic of her. As a young person, your parents will often take your temperature rectally, right?
Oh, okay.
Because they, you know, back in the day, it was a glass thing, and they didn't want you to bite down on it and break it. So she was also a nurse, and I think that she had a touch of Munchausen by proxy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not a lot. No, I've been on these Munchausen pages, and it's not that severe, but it's there.
Okay.
So she was always trying to medicalize all of my problems.
Right.
And I think I was like, oh, I don't feel good, or I have a cough or something like that. And she's like, let me take your temperature. I was like, mother, maybe not that. I was like, mommy, I'm a big boy, can I do it in my mouth? I don't want it in my butt. And she was like, no, next time. And I was like, I promise I won't bite down on it. Please, let's just, you know, and maybe I had a sore asshole at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But she refused
Whoa.
my request.
Yeah.
And when she went there to fucking put the thing up my ass, I fucking hit it out of her hand. And it fucking flew across the room and shattered into a million pieces.
Oh, shit.
Fuck yeah. I love the sound of broken glass. I think it's because of that moment.
Wow.
And she, of course, you know, and probably she's feeling even a little guilty about what she did.
A little shameful.
She's running to go get the broom and dustpan, and I immediately, naked little boy, 5 years old or whatever, 4 years old, run over and look at the broken glass and the fucking mercury. Oh, look, I got mercury on my fingers. And it's like, it's so beautiful. Yeah. The broken glass and the mercury, just like, and you can kind of push it along, and it gathers the dust as you roll it.
And poisons you slowly.
I didn't know it at the time, and that amount probably isn't that bad.
Yeah.
But I saw the broken thermometer, and I saw this little hole going through it, right? I could just see this little hole in the glass. And I realized, and this is the young, brilliant scientist that I was, the temperature of my body against the glass changes the volume of the mercury, and it pushes it up through this tube. Like, I had all the science play out in my head in that 2 or 3 seconds or 5-10 seconds when she was going to get the broom and the dustpan. So it was this brilliant moment for me of like setting my own agenda, learning some stuff, and I learned it through tragedy and pain and trauma. But yes, she was attempting to violate me, like literally rectally rape me, and I stood up to her. So yes, that's just an example of my mother, where it didn't matter if I requested that X, Y, or Z. She was unwilling until I yelled or violently.
Not listening.
Yeah.
Not hearing you out.
Not
seeing you for who you are.
And telling me to sit down. Oh, and the biggest part of that is, yes, I probably could have been on the path to being some kind of like artist scientist thing going on, but she so traumatized me around the STEM shit that I can't do it.
So you went to the photographer.
I went to film school, which
Yeah.
is a technical school for photography,
Yeah,
right? So
it is.
both technical and art.
Yes.
But now I'm more whatever. I'm just a
Yeah, filmmaking is both of those things. It's
Yeah.
science, math, and art.
Yeah.
So is architecture.
yeah. Well, it's originally my first non-medical. My mom wanted me to be a doctor, of course. My first non-medical thing was architecture. Was like a halfway
Yeah.
between the two.
Yeah.
But then I was like, nah, architecture's fine.
Yeah.
But fucking, I mean, literally just thinking of just sitting in the theater and every fucking magical moment I've had in my life in a movie theater.
Rem Koolhaas was both. He was a filmmaker and an architect.
I'll have to take a look at his flicks.
Check out his movie. There's a movie about Rem Koolhaas. He's such an asshole, though. I
Yeah,
met
well,
him
he's-
once,
he's a-
very briefly. He's
Yeah.
such a dick. I was like,
Well, I think that's part, again, like talk about that autistic sociopathy, right? I think he's probably very far on the spectrum from what I've seen. And he's what, Swedish, Norwegian,
he's Dutch.
Dutch.
Yeah,
and
that
yeah,
makes sense.
they have a severity to them already.
Yeah.
But you add the two, but what I mean, the two levels, meaning like he's already got this cultural severity, but also because he's brilliant, which means he's non-neurotypical,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which means very likely he's autistic. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
I'm not diagnosing him,
Yeah.
but he's also a generation that didn't get those diagnoses, number one. And then number two, if you fucking make money, nobody gives a shit.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, you could be the fucking biggest fucking asshole in the fucking world,
Yeah.
as long as you're
out.
fucking making people money.
Yay,
You don't need a
money.
diagnosis. That was wonderful.
That was fun.
Yeah. And we got to our sociopathy head injury discussion,
We did.
and we got to shamanism.
We didn't quite get into the film
Yeah.
that you saw, but I think it's there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That was delightful. 1 hour and 15 minutes, which I think is
That's good.
it's a good length. Yay! Wow, Grace.
Great. This is a good idea.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think it puts people in a space where they can,
The love cloud
I'll say, be a little more playful.
hiking
You know,
and
because I think when people are in the studio, yeah, you can turn it on and do the
making
thing.
your own.
Yeah,
Your luck and
absolutely.
time.